Good morning to all my friends and family, and welcome to this episode of Jim's 5am Club. What I'd love to do this morning is to go through a book, and the book that I've selected for this most beautiful Sydney autumn morning is entitled The Most Perfect Wrong, a book that was published on the 15th of March 2025 by an author named Erin Cornia. Love has a strange way of unfolding, not always in the right order, and certainly not in ways we expect. We often find ourselves standing still in its presence, frozen by the weight of choice, too cautious to risk choosing the wrong person, the wrong path, and the wrong ending. The Most Perfect Wrong doesn't romanticize that hesitation. It actually sits with it. It understood the quiet panic of indecision, the ache of holding on too long, and the bravery tucked inside letting go. This book doesn't ask us to be fearless. It asks us to be honest with ourselves first, and then with the stories we carry, especially the ones we've rewritten to make pain feel purposeful. It is raw, practical truth, and gives us a language for the lessons that often arrive too late. So let's see what we can learn and what we can take from this book. We'll step through some of the lessons. We'll go on a walk and talk on this most beautiful morning and see what we can glean and what we can incorporate into our inventory of skills, knowledge, and wisdom. So the first key message to come from this author is where we look at the concept of staying too long and whether or not it is its own kind of mistake. The author here suggests that some relationships aren't storms, they're slow leaks, and we stay not because it's working, but because leaving feels heavier than settling. This book helps one recognize the silent erosion that many people call loyalty. The next message to come from this book is where the author talks about love without direction can actually wear you down, wear you out, and drain you. Feelings on their own, according to this author, are not enough. People need clarity, they need alignment, and they need, most importantly, a thing called shared intent. Without these important and critical elements, even the deepest connection becomes a maze without an exit. And we also need to understand that not making a decision is actually a decision in itself. Like most people who pause before they act, many used to think that indecision is safe. But this book reminds us that indecision has a cost. Indecision is a decision, and it comes with a cost, and it comes with first, second, and third level consequences. This book makes it very, very clear: when you don't choose, what happens is that life quietly chooses for you, and it may not necessarily be the choice that you deserve or prefer. Another key message, and these messages are really, really strong messages, really heartfelt and come with a punch. Hope can hold your hostage. There is a fine line between patience and avoidance. Many of us hold out for change, which isn't necessarily forthcoming in our careers, in our health, in our New Year's resolutions, in our superannuation portfolio or our investments. The truth is, hope isn't always a virtue. It can be an excuse for staying still and not making the decisions that you need to make. This is really powerful. And the next message that comes from the book is that closure isn't owed, but it is created. Waiting for someone to explain, apologize, or make sense will keep you stuck in the mud. This book shows us that closure is a choice, not a gift, not a conversation, but a boundary that one draws for their own peace and contentment. Because we all need to put a moat around our anxiety and around our health, mental health. Not every lesson needs to be turned into a blessing. Sometimes pain is just pain. It doesn't have to become poetry. We don't need to dress it up, and to validate it is one of the key messages. Pain and suffering can stand on their own, raw and real. And the author also finishes up by saying that the right thing can come after the wrong one, but only if you move. The wrong love, the wrong job, the wrong life, the wrong investment, it can all shape you, but it can also stall you if you allow it. So this book reminds us that what comes next can only arrive if you create the right space for it. The most perfect wrong doesn't tie things up in neat conclusions. It asks you to sit, with the mess, look at it plainly, and still choose forward. For anyone who overthinks, they stay longer than they should. Who hesitates until the moment passes, the book doesn't give answers. It gives permission. It gives you permission to walk away, to change your mind, and to begin again. So thank you very much for joining me on this episode of Jim's 5am Club, where we walk into the main quadrangle of Sydney University on this most beautiful autumn Sydney morning. And I wish you all the best, and we'll chat again soon. Take care, and bye for now.